Welcome, everyone, to our Friday edition of the Awakening Spiritual Gifts show at 11 a.m. Mountain. And we're glad to be here. Start getting your questions ready. We'll be able to answer those today. I'll just put up some ideas here below so you can see some of the questions you can ask. And we're grateful for our regular listeners. We have quite the viewership now. It's starting to really grow, and a lot of people watch on the replay. So if you are watching on the replay, you can still ask questions, you can comment in these videos, or you can message our page. So anyway, we love all of you, no matter when you're watching. So we're going to start off with the daily energy today, and Martina is going to do that.
Yeah, I was thinking this. I'm sorry, I'm kind of like still on what you were saying, but yeah, it is really fun. I love seeing repeat people. I love having new people. It's been so fun to just get to know everyone, and it's also been especially just very heart fulfilling, I guess. Like it just warms our hearts when we get some of the feedback and whether it be feedback on the live thing, like, oh my gosh, that helped, that was spot on. Or if we also get a lot of private messages after and just saying, yes, oh my gosh, that helped me so much. Sometimes we can get reports days later saying how it helped them and what was going on. And so it just, it really makes us happy to be able to help others and serve in this capacity. So welcome again. Plus it's so fun. We're like getting more and more people all over the world.
Yeah, I can say we're in 3 continents now. So
already. So awesome. Okay, let's look at the daily energy today. I did not look ahead of time, so we're just right at the moment. Let's see what's going on. Okay, let's see. There's almost this interesting like pause energy in the air today. Like that's the only way to describe it. It looks like a gray cloud just kind of moves in, and it's not really doing anything. So it's just like, and it's not horribly like dark and gray, so it doesn't feel like super heavy, and there's no other strands like crushing down or anything like that we've seen before. And there's like not tons of movement on the ground. There's just like a pause, like a stillness in the air. And it feels, I even want to say like a little bit of like a waiting energy. That actually makes me wonder because it feels there's a waiting energy, but it feels very purposeful. Like there's some gifts and there's value in waiting. It makes me want to go like today, I'm going to like write this and you guys can also do this. This is how I understand energy and what's going on. So it's like I'm seeing these patterns and what it feels like. And then why is there waiting? So I'll go Google benefits of waiting. What does it bring? What does it bring to our body, to our mind, to our spirit? Like if we have to wait for something. In fact, I would love to even hear comments from you guys. What do you guys think of when there's a waiting energy? Why would that be a good thing? Because it feels like there's a purpose to it. So why is it good? I mean, I can think like anticipation, maybe patience, maybe allowing people to all get on board. Like maybe we just got to kind of wait for a timing thing for a bunch of different things. And then when those other pieces are in place, then it can just engage and move again. So it just feels like a little bit of a waiting on that. It feels like we've done a great deal of work. Oh, hello.
So I have this quote that I put up in the group yesterday in the Awakening Intuition Spiritual Gifts and Purpose group. We renamed it. So it's trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty, enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. It's from John Holland.
Okay, you guys, right there. That was like on the fly intuition in action right there. I'm saying this. Christy picked it up subconsciously and posted that quote.
Yeah, last night.
I didn't even remember that you posted that quote. I remember reading it last night going, oh, that's a good quote, but I didn't make the connection to it. So that was literally on the fly intuition on how it works and all these synchronicities. and how they mean something, and how when we, and like Christy gets a piece and then I'm getting a piece and you guys are probably getting a piece, and this is why it's so important to connect with others. And that's why we got our groups, we got our memberships. It's like, let's link together because we can, we have places to discuss these things and to strengthen each other and to help each other not feel crazy when we have these experiences come up. So that's awesome. So yeah, okay. And I'm almost thinking too, so that quote is a perfect one. And two, like right before you said that quote, just I was even kind of getting the feeling of like the Sabbath day is kind of a day of rest, but in a way that's a form of weight. Like, okay, we completed this and breathe and relax, and then the next thing comes. And so it definitely has some of that feel to it. So that's quite beautiful. It's like I see things moving still, and I see some of those same structures and patterns and things going on, but it is a little more just almost as if you're to slow-mo it down and go, like that's kind of what's going on today. So if you're in a mood to go fast and you just like, I want this all done, and then it's feeling this, you might actually feel a little frustration. Feels like you're trudging through some mud. Or it could actually be a relief feeling if you've been feeling hurried lately, like you're getting shot with steroids and fire hosed with life experiences, and all of a sudden you just get a little bit of a lull. It could feel relieving to you. So I'd be really curious how this energy is affecting you right now and how you can feel it and how you can use it for your benefit.
We actually have some wise words in the comments right now. Tracy says, waiting is a sacred virtue and activity in Hinduism, feminine divinity too. And then she says, not being goal driven, being without expectation, when you don't know when or if it will happen, and you're not doing anything to force it. Rest in preparation for transition.
Ooh,
And
let's remember
yeah,
that phrase right there. Rest in preparation for transition. Ooh, that's good.
that's deep. In only 5 words. It's very deep. And then Patch says, last night I felt like tomorrow would have a Sunday feeling. Relax, study, enjoy others. Pretty
Nice.
cool stuff, you guys.
Was way to pick up on that last night too. So look at that.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, let's go to our first question here. We've got an anonymous person wrote in, said, super excited to be part of this. I've had questions regarding my spiritual gifts, as I'd love to know what my main one is. I'm aware of them, but I'd like to hone in on them and be sure.
Okay, let's see. Well, first of all, I've kind of said this a couple times before, but I'm just going to reiterate. So, we've got our personality. We also have which, that's one of the things we talk about. We've got the quiz, intuitive personality quiz. We've also got a quiz if you're curious about your spiritual sense. We have 10 different spiritual senses. Those are things like the clairvoyant or your clear sight and things. That's just your senses. Everybody has them. And it's just a matter of knowing which ones speak to you the strongest, learning the language of it, and then having the rest of them kind of develop. And then your spiritual gifts are in addition to that, but they work through those other things. So that's just kind of a little disclaimer on all that. But it's interesting how you say what my main one spiritual gift is. So that almost makes it sound like you're wondering what your spiritual sense is out of like the main 10 or out of those 10, because your spiritual gifts are like one of my favorite things to read is like in 1 Corinthians 12, when it talks about the spiritual gifts, there's like an unlimited amount. There's a diversity of operations and a diversity of administrations. And there's an unlimited way they can show up, an unlimited way that they can manifest through each of us. The way they operate can be different. The way that you administer and what the purposes can be different. So, and when we think of it that way, there's like this infinite number of combinations and gifts, and you have many, many gifts and spiritual gifts. So it does help to kind of identify a bunch of them, but they work like an orchestra. They work in like harmony with all of each other. So and since I can't ask you right now what you were clarifying here, I'm actually just kind of feeling like you're wondering what some of your spiritual senses are. And if I can see some of the layers of your spiritual gifts, I'll totally share some of that too. But that's where I'm leaning in on that, just based on the phrasing. And it feels like that was one of the things you're kind of leaning into, is just kind of not understand. The spiritual senses are super important to understand, because that's kind of like how your spiritual gifts show up. How do you discern? How do you get information and all that? So, okay. Anonymous. Sending love to you. Okay, let's look at your energy. Okay, one of the first things I see some activity in the mind, which tells me you probably have some kind of clear knowing, or the claircognizant, which is your clear knowing, where things you just maybe just have like an understanding, or you just kind of know things. It just feels, but it's an interesting one. It's where it feels like a softer energy in the mind, but it feels like you still get it. So it would makes me wonder if you have a specific clear knowing around certain situations or people. Like maybe it's just not all things just pop into you all the time, but it's a very softer, like where or why are you more prone to get information in certain things. So let's say you have some gifts in regard to people and like serving them, or maybe speaking, caring for people, knowing their needs, all of those kinds of things. If you've got these people gifts and it moves to that soft knowing, it would just be like, oh, I just kind of have this knowing on how to serve them and what needs they have. And I just know how to take care of them. Okay. So it just kind of comes in. Oh, I know that person is struggling, or I know this over here needs to be taken care of. So it's kind of a care kind of knowing versus like information and knowledge, and some of those like more structured type of information. So and then the other place that I'm seeing some gifts in your belly. So I'm wondering if you even have, and the way it also moves up, it's like it goes from your stomach and then kind of up into your heart. So to me, this is almost like your trio of like discernment, or how to use your intuition and get it. Like, are you getting like almost like check your mind, check your gut, and check your heart, like the trio. And if all three of those are saying the same thing, then it's like a surefire. You can trust that, though, no matter what. In the stomach, what it looks like is it kind of spreads out, just feels a little bit more sensitive. So you might be more sensitive to energies or to emotions. If someone's is struggling near you, or if there's fighting and contention, you might get a little bit of a stomach ache and kind of feel kind of yucky. Or and then the way that it then kind of speaks up into your heart, like it almost triggers the information to move to the heart, and then you would feel it and feel the emotions, or feel any of the heaviness or anything that might be connected there. But so mind and gut, which is so interesting too, because there's a lot of physical connections between our brain and our mind, our brain and our gut and our stomach, like physically, and then also up into the heart. So I would love to hear how that one goes. So let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Cool. All right. Bonnie Lee is up next. She also just tagged her friend I saw in the feed. So thank you. That's really cool. All right. Good morning, ladies. I'm wondering if you can see any of the clairs as my specific gifts. Remember, they're senses, not gifts, because gifts are different. I've never been aware of any, and I'm new to these, discoveries.
Hooray! So since you're new, I highly recommend going watching. We have the free
There.
meaty long. You already got it down there.
Yeah, I got it.
It's so good. So good. Yeah, I'm like, there's like that big, meaty, long, hour-long thing that goes through all 10. And it especially accompanies the quiz. The quiz goes through like the main top 4, and then the 10 dives in deep to all 10. Okay, so let's look at this.
And I'm putting the URL to that meaty training that Martina was mentioning up here on the screen for you. So anyone, I know Bonnie Lee came because I remember seeing her. So.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that. Okay, then maybe that was for other people.
That was for other people. So. She said, yes, she's watched all of those. They're wonderful. And she's learning. So
Love it. Okay, so I'm just watching the pattern and the way that it moves through you. So I can just see kind of like I'll check in some of the clairs there and how they are. Okay, so one of the first things that I saw, which was kind of a fun one, is I actually see a lot of things around your mouth, a lot of energy around your mouth. So clairalience, where you taste things. This is an interesting one. So this could be, it's kind of a fun little one for discernment, because I'm like, that was a good taste in my mouth. Like, well, yeah, maybe it can also be not just like tastes and flavors, but it can also be textures, saliva levels. Like if your mouth waters, it's like, yeah, that's good. That's a good book or that's truth. If somebody speaks something, your mouth starts salivating, or you start getting a little smoothness or good flavor or whatever saliva, then it's like, that's good. And if it starts going, not, and you just want to like do that, then it can be like, something's wrong about that. It's off or not correct or accurate. So I feel like there's something for you with that. I also can see like sometimes that can also bring some abilities or gifts that like you can taste things really well. Maybe you can pick out flavors in food, and it's just kind of a sensory thing. Like it's good to you, but that can be symbolic if you think about it in your daily life. What else can be delicious to you or good for you? Because it just is like right there. So so that was kind of a fun one. That is not as super common as one of the more dominant ones, but I saw it. It's definitely like some mouth stuff there. And then you have definitely some of the knowing. So I'd say the claircognizant, or the eyes, the clairvoyancy, the clear seeing. But it's interesting with the direction that it moves through you. So with the seeing, it's like your eyes are almost, instead of a lot of like seeing outward with like clairvoyance, like, oh, here it is, like watching things on the screen. It's almost like that's your port of entry. Like you absorb information, like you take it in through your eyes. So maybe you're kind of a watcher. You like to see things, observe. And then when you observe it, then you take it into your mind. And then that's where the knowing and like the claircognizant abilities come in. It's like what you see, you're able to discern truth and error, good and whatever, but it comes through what you see. So I hope that speaks. And then there's also something about, I'm seeing like the gifts of your heart. So maybe you're not necessarily one that feels super comfortable. Like if somebody's crying, you don't want to just run up and just cry with them and be like, oh my gosh, I just feel what you're feeling and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't really feel like your style, but it's like you still have a very caring heart. But I see just some energy moving like out through your arms and through your hands. So I would say like you want to do something for them, or and with the way that this energy is going, it could even be a little bit of like touch or even mobility, but it's just something about actually bringing movement into your body and coming out through there. So that would be another one that I would say that is a strength as well. So.
All right, let us know how that resonates with you, Bonnie Lee. Thank you so much for asking that question. So I'm going to move on down to Tracy. She says, I would like to know, what are my spiritual gifts?
Love it. Again, that's a humongous question. We got a whole 10 categories of gifts that are just categories of gifts. And there's like a bunch of different gifts within those categories. Plus there can be infinite number. So do you mean gifts or do you mean spiritual senses?
Yeah, spiritual senses would be like the clairs, like clairvoyance, clairaudience. Gifts would be totally different.
Like gift of prophecy, gift of dreams. It could also be
discerning spirits.
Discerning spirits. It could be even things like gifts within nature or people, or understanding how mechanics and like operations of things work. Like there's a whole bunch, like that's kind of like gifts. Your talents and those kind of things are part of your gifts. So gifts, intuitively, I think that. Okay, sweet. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so I'll just name which ones I see coming up. Okay, right off the bat, I'm getting some kind of humanity focus where I'm seeing like maybe it's like if you see human suffering in the world, your heart goes out to them and you want to help change it. So definitely some of the people gifts where it's caring for humanity. Um, it feels a little bit more instead of just like there's different types of serving humanity, and that's kind of where personalities come in um, and all of that. It's like, but instead of like serving them like literally, I just want to go around and this neighbor over here is having problems. I'm going to go make them dinner and bring them all the dinner, and that's a very like an action doing kind of thing, and it doesn't feel like that's the type of serving humanity that is your strength and your strong point. You can still do it, but it feels like your strength and your strong point is geared more for like serving humanity and possibly inspiring them or sharing a new insight and um, teaching something or like helping them understand a higher thing that would elevate them out of their current situation. So can you feel how that's a little bit different? It still has a serving humanity, but based on personalities it can look different. So that's definitely humanity focused. And then the next thing that I'm seeing some words that are wanting to come out through you. It's like these words coming from the back, and they want to flow out through and like out through your mouth and through your heart. So I would either say this is a somewhat of a like a teaching gift, and also you might actually have like I want to say something verbally like a writing, or you write a book, or you have a book, you've got some writing, or do you have maybe some speaking? It could be both, actually. It's just like these words. I just see some words that need to flow through you. It's either through speaking, your voice, through some kind of teaching, or also you've got some like in your writing and something that you're like a message that's just got to come out and it's got to be shared. And it probably is both. If you got a book in you, then speaking is going to probably be part of it too, speaking in books. So those would be definitely some of the biggest strengths that I see for you. And you're sitting there, let's see. Like how you hit it straight on. Awesome. I love to hear that kind of stuff.
Really cool. All right, cool. Next up, we have Stacey. Could you share anything you see going on with my body? I've been getting frequent headaches, digestive issues, and feeling achy, including my throat. It doesn't feel like a sickness.
Right off the bat, I can tell you some of those symptoms are collective symptoms too. Like I'm feeling like
Mhm.
you're not alone in that. There's a ton of people that are getting some of those
Mhm.
same similar messages. Like, yeah, I'm like all three of them. And it's like, and I usually I see the patterns. Well, not only I see patterns anyway, just because one of my strengths, but it's interesting when things happen. Then also my phone will start blowing up with people like, can you help me with this? And they all start sounding the same. This is what I'm dealing with. And then my family all has the same issues, my friends, and I come on here and I see patterns and current things that people are going through. And so first and foremost, I feel like, and like even when I'm looking at your energy, I'm feeling like you do have a sensitivity to picking up on collective energy. It's really good for you to just to know that sometimes you're going to feel things and you got to ask, is this mine? Is this someone else's? Is this like collective? Is this just like something moving through the air and I'm got my antenna up and I'm just picking it all up? This is where the categories of like the empath types come in, because empath types, like those are kind of like a net of things that you just kind of tend to catch. Or I've even described them as kind of like a magnet where it just magnifies something for you. So it's just louder than usual. So I definitely can see that you've got some empath type on top of your other spiritual sense and personality and everything, which is amplifying some of those things. I'm going to look very specifically at your body though, and see if there's anything like once I separate some of the collective energy there. Headache. I'm seeing there's something there that you're working too hard in your head. You're trying to think too much. You're maybe thinking about something too much, worrying about something too much, trying to figure something out too much. Feels like there's just too much like wheels just going and going and going. So I would definitely recommend taking some break from that. Maybe shelf some things in your mind. Make some make some bookshelves. You guys might have heard me say that before. I got tons of bookshelves in my head. Like, I don't have to understand it all. I can just put it there and trust that God will bring it to me the next time I'm supposed to know. And once I hear it 2 or 3 times, I can pull the box down and go, okay, let's evaluate all the contents that have been coming in on this. But until then, I can just trust. If I have a question, I can, I don't have to hold everything all at once. It's kind of a little technique I do. So I just want to kind of mention some of that. Also too, just to understand that there's some things that you're not going to understand, and let that be okay. And then what that can look like is simply releasing it or letting it go or surrendering it. Like, that's when I'm just giving it to Jesus. I got a Jesus box, and I'll just be like, here, Jesus, this is for you, because I don't get it. I'm incapable of understanding. I don't know what to do with it. You take it. Actually, it's more like I imagine a water slide up to Jesus on a lot of things. Like, if something comes to me and I don't like it or anything, it's like one of those bank things. So I send that up to him. And so it feels like there might be some things that you've got to let go of and release, and just send those to Jesus. And then let's see, the throat. So throat, I'm definitely seeing that there could be some things that it's like I'm seeing maybe some words or some things that you haven't expressed, and the way that it's showing up, it's like I keep you seeing just swallowing them back down, like nope. And it's all part of. Oh yeah, I'm getting a taste in my mouth too. Speaking, that's funny. I talked about clairalience. I'm feeling right now. And they're like, they're not maybe the nicest words, or they're things that you just don't like to talk about. And so I'm getting like I just want to be nice. I just only want to speak kind things. I could see this very beautiful intention of your heart. You want to be so lovely and kind and everything. And so it's like, I'm not going to speak words that are not kind. Okay, that's great in theory. But if you do that all the time, in every scenario, then there's things, not that you have to speak it to someone else, because you don't have to hurt somebody else, but you still got to find a way to get some of those things out, or it can cause problems internally. Whether you journal it, whether you drive in the car and speak it, whether you go talk to a tree or going for a walk, they must be spoken. So just be honoring with things that you have to say that may not, or sometimes I have conversations with imagining a person's spirit next to me, and I'll have conversations like there's something there that you've got to just kind of acknowledge and not worry so much about filtering it out and only saying the nice words. Like, there's, I hope that makes sense. In real life, you can totally try to make it sound lovely, but honestly, sometimes truth is such a gift, and it can feel harsh to people, but it's still a gift. And here's my little recipe for delivering truth in a way that can be delivered, the person can receive it better. So when you're delivering it. So basically, I imagine maybe there's some hard, yucky truth that you feel like you have to say. So here it is. This is my hard, yucky truth. It's like a little like this. And then we're going to dip it in chocolate, like on Princess Bride, when he helps the medicine or the pills go down and bring him back to life. And it's like the chocolate just helps it down go easier. But chocolate in this case is love. So take your little truth, wrap it in your little love chocolate. Like, I just love you. I love you. I love you. This truth wrapped in love. And then you're not going to actually be the one delivering it. Imagine that you're going to give it to the Holy Spirit. And so the Spirit is going to be the one knocking on the door going, hi. Oh, hi, I have this package from Stacey, and it's for you. And then the person takes the package and goes, oh, the Spirit delivered it. It's wrapped in love. And I open it, and oh, it's truth. And it's like that combo right there can reach and open up them like way, way better than anything else. So that's kind of a technique to do. And then the last little thing that I just want to say there's also too in your throat, there might be some adjutants in the air. Is that a word? Adjutants? Yeah. Just check to see, look in the sky. Are they doing chemtrails in your sky? Are you breathing that? Is there some kind of air freshener that could be agitating you? Are there just check your airway. Are there allergens, pollen? I don't know, but it seems like there could be an adjutant floating in the air when you're breathing. And then the last thing that I just want to say is to breathe. Like there's just something about taking some deep, slow breaths, and to remember that when you're inhaling and you're breathing in, it's like you're breathing in love. So just inhale all that love and let all of it just relax out of you. Take those deep cleansing breaths. There's really something powerful that just shifts you out of that fight or flight and into the rest and digest. You have to be in the rest and digest for like ultimate healing. So take those breaths like, oh, it's over. The threat is over. I'm no longer stressed. And then just relax breathing after you do that. Get in that place. And that's where the peace can come, new ideas can come, new solutions. You can release and surrender easier is from that place of peace. Can you feel it almost like when you shift into that? So I would recommend breathing. Do some like breathing regimen in your day to just help you at least to where it can become more of a state of being instead of trying to rush or like, oh, I got to figure it out. It's like, nope, you don't. Let's just breathe into that. So love that.
Thank you, Stacey. Okay, next one is Patch. Can I ask for my son, please? This week he was dizzy, achy, tired, so missed school. This is the third time where he's for days in a row he wants to lay in bed. What is going on? How can I help?
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, asking for other people is always tricky. As a mother, we it's like you can ask for your children, but I've got to say it's really interesting that as children age, there's a place that I can see it in their energy and I can almost feel it when there's a point that you just have to have their permission to look into their energy and that the whole agency, like you just have to have a person's agency. So I don't remember how old, I don't know how old he is. I don't remember off the top of my bat, but like looking at the energy of the situation, it's like I'm seeing, mom, you only have partial permission. So so we can only do partial right now. And that just tells me that he's gaining some independence, finding his own voice. He might be, I don't remember the age on that, but I'm thinking like, I know I've once known the age for your son, but I don't remember off the top of my back. Top of my head. I guess a hat goes on your head. But it's like I'm seeing that maybe he's just transitioning that early teenager, you know. So he definitely picks up some collective, like I talked about earlier. Things just affect him a bit more, feeling a little heavy, like things can just kind of crush him. As a mother, it would be really, like just, it can be helpful to just be a cheerleader and just be like, you know what, you're stronger than you know, and just kind of help remind him of his strength and his ability to overcome and rise. Also, I kind of gather too that because he's also got some strong gifts and spiritual abilities, and so there might be more processing time that he has to process information. And I really feel like he has some strong intuitive abilities. So you may actually choose to ask him, what do you need? Oh yeah. Okay. 11. That's what I was thinking. Like, I didn't want to say 10, but it felt, I was going to actually guess 11. It was like that. 11, 12. I should have just said it because 11 was what was coming to my head. But it feels like ask him and lean into his intuition, and just because he's going to know things that you don't know, or even I don't know. It just feels like he's kind of got some kind of connection here. And if he doesn't have words for it, see if he can draw it out. Well, can you draw? Can you create? Can you do something that can kind of channel some of this inspiration through? Like maybe have him draw a picture of his body and choose colors and what's wrong with it. And like what colors are there? What emotions are there? And then ask them, what do you want to do with it? Like, do you want to, if you've got a headache and he draws like black sticky stuff in his head, how do you want to get rid of it? And then have him kind of lean in and go, oh, I want to like blast it away with a rocket. Okay. Or I want to, wash it off with a water gun, or however it is, the kids, but they can kind of identify things and the essence and kind of the energy of what it would take to remove it. The other thing too that I'm getting is I actually wonder if he has some strong like clairsentience. or his body is really loud. I'm flashing to what I was. Oh, I just bonked my computer. But when I was a child, and even into my early adulthood, I almost felt like a hypochondriac because my body is so loud. That's like my dominant one, is just the clear sensing in my body and like all the sensations and feelings and what's moving and feeling in my body. And so I feel like he might have some of that. And so it's just his body is really, really loud. And there could be just so like a smaller pain may just feel bigger to him. And so there could just be some honoring of that, and then just some just helping him to know that he can or at least try to find things that can help. Like I'm thinking like some grounding mats, some like a vibration plate on Amazon. You can like even get some of those. You stand on it, kind of shake, like it kind of help. Massage might help, stretching, getting him physically active, just something to help relieve and move and just have him shift some things out of his body. So hopefully that helps. Good luck.
Well, yeah, definitely. Let us know how that resonated. And that actually concludes today's episode of Awakening Spiritual Gifts. So if you did get an answer today for one of your questions, please consider paying it forward and share this post on your profile or in Messenger, or tag your friend in the post. And you can even invite your friends to like the page so that they can check it out. And anyway, we're super grateful for everybody who has been sharing this with their friends so that more and more people can benefit from all this knowledge. I feel like whether or not you have a question answered in an episode, I feel like there's something for everyone in each of these episodes. Like there's just really awesome golden nuggets. So yeah, and Bonnie Lee actually said she thought that those were great ideas for her 18-year-old son. So yeah, it does really help when I see people tagging already. So thank you so much for that. And we'll see you on Monday at 11 a.m. Mountain. And be sure, if you do have questions and you're watching this replay, you can always message our page, the Intuition Gym, and we can get those questions answered for you. All right. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for coming, everybody. See you next week.